You're listening to Puma Podcast.
Bago na-kontrol ng China ang Scarborough Shoal noong 2012, nakakapangisda pa ang mga taga-Zambales doon. Marami daw talagang yamang dagat sa Bajo de Masinloc. Yung 14 to 18-hour boat ride, di sila natitinag. In fact, nakikita pa nila yung mga ibang mangingisda mula sa Taiwan at sa Vietnam. They're even sharing food among themselves while they waited for their catch. But the Chinese drove them away from their traditional fishing grounds. Some were bombarded by water cannons, others were cornered by Chinese vessels. Then there were those who had their boats boarded by the Chinese, who would then steal their catch from them. Para sa kanila, going to their usual place of work meant risking their lives. Kaya nga yung iba nag-tricycle driver na lang or nag-construction worker. Meron namang nangisda pa rin, kaya lang sa ibang lugar na, sa Masinloc o Oyon Bay. Although these waters are still not a guarantee of prosperity or even just a source of livelihood. Ako po si Veronica Uy, Puma Podcast, and you're listening to Teka Teka News.
Hindi siya alitan lang ng dalawang bansa. Maraming mga apektado. Nakakaapekto din yung issue ng West Philippine Sea sa biodiversity ng ibang mga coastal areas sa Zambales Province.
That's Joanne Aglipot. She's a freelance writer who's been covering the West Philippine Sea for the last 5 years.
Doon sa municipal waters, yun na yung nagsasuffer this time dahil nag-overfish sila. And during my interview with Professor J. Batumbakal, nasabi nga niya na kapag walang lugar na mapangisdaan, talagang magsasuffer yung mga nagre-rely lang yung livelihood nila doon sa dagat.
She's referring to the UP law professor and maritime expert who says that Masinloc Oyon Bay is experiencing environmental stress. In fact, in 2021, USAID monitored the fish catch in Masinloc Oyon Bay through its Sustainable Interventions for Biodiversity, Ocean and Landscapes or CBOL project. They found that almost 4,000 fishers go to Masinloc Oyon Bay for their catch using different kinds of gear, from fishing lines to nets to traps and more. The number of days and hours per day the respondents would go fishing varied, but in general, compared to other study areas, they would have lower catch per hour. What's more, out of the fishing gear Cibol monitored, half of them yielded less than 1 kilo per hour. It takes them longer for them to catch any fish. Even worse, says Cibol, a large proportion of the catch of half the gears are quote-unquote immature individuals. This means, quote, fish individuals are removed without having contributed to replenish their population so that there will be fish for the next generations to come, end quote.
Hindi na sapat yung mga lugar na pangisdaan nila. Sa Scarborough Shoal, pinipigilan sila. Tapos, sa Masinloc mismo, ang buong Masinloc Oyon Bay ay protected area. May mga iba pa siya like the San Salvador and 3 other fish sanctuaries. Dun sa mga area na yun, talagang restricted, hindi talaga pwedeng mangisda. Nahihirapan silang maghanap ng ibang lugar na pangisdaan. Kaya yung iba talagang napipilitan na pumunta sa mas malayong lugar na hindi ganun ka-safe dahil nga parang nung nakaraan nga lang may 3 mga mangingisda ang namatay dahil nasa Pangasinan area sila.
She's referring to the fishermen from Subic who were killed when their fishing boat capsized after an oil tanker struck it early this month. Now Masinloc Oyon Bay is the first marine protected area in Central Luzon. 30 years ago, it was declared a protected seascape and landscape under the National Integrated Protected Areas System Act or Republic Act 7586. This was precisely so that the area could be protected and conserved ecologically while addressing the economic needs of the local communities. But with more fisher folk turning to Masinloc Oyon Bay for their livelihood, it's no surprise that, as mentioned earlier, the area is suffering from environmental stress. Fisherman Francisco Miranda, who lives in Masinloc Municipality, has seen this for himself. Sabi niya kay Joanna, mas konti na ang mga mangingisdang pumupunta sa Scarborough Shoal. Many are already here swarming this place. Ibig sabihin, dun sa Masinloc Oyon Bay. Meanwhile, when he used to go to Scarborough Shoal, one trip would be enough to support his family's needs for a month. A month! Ibig sabihin ganun talaga kasagana ang lugar na Scarborough Shoal. The intersection of poverty, security, and the environment can be difficult to navigate. But in San Salvador Island, which is also in Masinloc, the direction is clear.
Dun sa community ng San Salvador Island, nagpunta ang Haribon Foundation during 1970s and naturuan nila yung mga tao kung paano mahalin yung kalikasan. And very different yung mga tao doon. Kasi alam nila kung gaano kahalaga yung pagprotekta sa environment para magpatuloy na madami silang makuhang isda sa dagat. Sinabi po to ni Miss Ana Varona ng Haribon Foundation. Pag-usapin ng preservation and conservation, laging pipiliin ng tao na unahin ang pamilya niya, ang pagkain nila pang araw-araw. Siguro yun din yung realization na, oo nga, bago natin protektahan yung environment, kailangan maprotektahan muna yung community na umaasa doon at yung community na nagpoprotekta din doon sa area. Yung nangyari sa San Salvador Island, ang napansin ko po talaga, since may mga tulong, may mga alternative livelihood na nabibigay sa kanila, mas naiisip nila na kailangan naming protektahan yung lugar. And mas effective siya na mas matagalan.
She mentioned Mary Jane Antonio, whose father was a bantay dagat and would bring her to trainings to restore the island's natural resources when she was 10 years old.
Bata pa po siya nung nandun, pero namulat siya na ito yung kailangan kong gawin at ito yung solusyon para patuloy na maasahan namin na meron kaming makukuha at makakain mula sa biyaya ng dagat.
Ngayon, 49 na siya. And with other members of the San Salvador Biodiversity Association, she's been protecting and planting more mangroves on the island. Tinuturuan din nila ang mga young members of the community to do the same. Protecting and maintaining mangrove forest, coral reefs, and seagrass beds are crucial, says Simol. This is where fish can grow, in the end replenishing their population. For Joanna, what she has seen in San Salvador Island can be a model for other areas in the archipelago. She can only hope that it can be replicated.
At sana mas dumami yung katulad ni Miss Mary Jane na nagpoprotekta sa kalikasan at hindi na kailangang sabihin pa sa kanila kung gaano kahalaga na protektahan yung lugar. Sana mas madaming katulad ni Miss Mary Jane na magtuturo pa sa mga anak nila kung gaano kahalaga at paano protektahan yung kalikasan para mas madami pa tayong isda na kakainin at madami pang mga mangingisda ang mas matulungan sa mga hanap buhay nila. Ito yung mga sektor na hindi natin madalas na-appreciate kasi akala natin nangingisda lang sila. Pero lagi nating iisipin sana na habang kumakain tayo ng paborito nating isda na merong mga katulad ni Kuya Francisco na nagsasakripisyo ng ilang linggo, ilang araw para lang makuha yung mga yon.
Again, I'm Veronica Uy Puma Podcast. You've been listening to Teka Teka News. For more of this story, read Saving Oyon Bay on Inquirer.net. The story is supported by Green Bee Plus, an initiative of the USAID Sustainable Interventions for Biodiversity, Oceans and Landscapes or CBOL project. It is implemented in partnership with the Association of Young Environmental Journalists or AYEJ. This episode was written by Trisha Aquino and Joanna Rose Aglibot of the Philippine Daily Inquirer. It was edited by Pidoy Blanco. Our executive producer is Jill Caro. May natutunan ba kayong bago for this episode? Let us know in the comments on YouTube or on social media if you're listening to this on your podcast app. Salamat sa pakikinig!